So Ketan, what we did, that was CIDR, that was classless inter-domain routing, right? Now we will talk about the VLSM, right?
About the
We will talk about the VLSM now. So
VLSM.
yes, VLSM is something variable length subnet mask, right? So what is this? In CIDR, what we have seen, the the dividing the big network into small networks, subnetworks,
Right.
right? With the help of this slash notation, with the help of prefix bits.
Right.
But VLSM is based on that subnets, small subnets, assigning the IP range to the customers.
I see.
So that is called VLSM. So that we will do using the VLSM. Pretty much similar concept, but it is called as in the variable in subnet mask. For example, let's say here I have some. This is network. This is one router, connected to another router, connected to another router, and connected to another router. And they are connected to each other over the WAN link, like this. We have LAN, so there is one LAN going here. We have LAN, there is one LAN going here. We have LAN, and we have similar LAN. Let's say now the requirement, now these are the different customers, and service provider has to provide the IP range to the different customer. Let's say this customer requires 100 IP address, right? This customer requires 20 IP address. This customer requires 50, and this customer requires 10. Normally, this connection between routers, it is called point-to-point connection. So we need only two IP addresses. Right. So now this is our requirement.
Where 22 IP address?
Because let's say this is service provider and this is our router. So one IP address will configure here, and one IP address will configure here. So two IP address, two host, two valid IP addresses are enough. That is why, if you have noticed, in /30 we will only get the total 4 IP addresses, where one IP will be for network, one IP will be for host, and two IP addresses will be for valid IP address, and one will be for broadcast.
But I don't understand the concept. Your example that you only need two IP address. So what is the example? What is the case that you are putting here? These four circles, these are four
Now
routers.
I am only talking about this link. This and this link, yeah, these are the routers.
Okay. So how routers need IP addresses too?
Yes.
Okay.
Every device will require the IP address. Right. And now let's say the service provider has got this range, 192.168.1.0, let's say. 168.1.0. This is the range service provider has got /24. So from this range, service provider has to allocate the IP range.
Right.
Now, whenever we talk about, whenever assign the IP address, we always see the first requirement as in the bigger requirement. So I see the bigger requirement here is 100. These are the different customers. This is one customer, this is another customer, this is another customer, this is another customer, and they are again the different customers here, and here. Now, while allocating IP range to this particular customer where it needs IP 100 IP addresses, what I'll do, I'll assign to this guy as an 1.0, 1.0 and slash 25. Now, since you know what will be the subnet in slash 25, so in slash 25 there will be two network, 1.0 and 1.128.
Hmm.
So 1.0 I'll give to this customer, where it will utilize 100 IP address, one and 26 address it will keep as in reserve.
Okay.
So the first valid IP for this will be 1.1, right? And it will utilize till 1.126,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
127 will be the broadcast address for this.
Right.
Now service provider still has got the 128 range.
Hmm.
So we'll go to the next is 50. So here service provider will assign 1.128. 1.128,
Hmm.
but here I need only 50 IP address.
Hmm.
So assigning slash 24 or 25 won't make much sense, because again the most or half of the IP address will go waste.
Hmm.
So here I will assign slash 26. Now in 26 I know there will be four subnet, right? And two subnets are already used. Out of two, I'll give one subnet to here. So I'll give 128 until 191. So this will go till 191. So this customer will use IP range within this 128 to 191,
Hmm.
right? And accordingly, the subnet mask will change here. So like 129, the first valid IP address, to 190, they will utilize. Now I have the another requirement is 20.
Hmm.
So I have to allocate 20. So which slash notation I should give? Now remember, this range will not be utilized anywhere. So this range, since we have already provided 1.0, 1.28. So what is left is, next is left 192.0. So here I will give slash 27. So because in slash 27, I will get some 30 valid IP, isn't it?
Uh, Wait. So how come it is 192.0? Because it is already
Sorry, it is not
192.
192. It is 1.192.
Okay.
So 192 and plus 32 will become 224. So the last address of this segment will be 223.
Okay.
So 193 to 224 will be the valid IP address. So this customer will utilize this range.
222, right?
Correct. Now,
193 to 222.
correct. This is to do.
Okay.
And this is here we need 10. So so we have 224 now. And if we give slash 28, so this and all you have to remember, okay? In slash 28, what will be the block size? In slash 27, what all will be the block size? And here we'll give 224 slash 28, which will go. So in this, the block size will be 16, so which will be
4 raised to 4.
239 will be the last,
Raised to 2.
right? So 225, 225 to 238 will be the valid IP address which will be used here, right?
Hmm.
So next is what? 240.
Are you doing the block size 16, right?
Yes. So 224 plus 16 to 40. 239 will
Right.
be the last.
Okay.
So for now we need two IP addresses, so I'll give it here. So let's say I'm assigning here as in 240 slash 30. Now we have seen slash 30.
Hmm.
In slash 30, what will be the host?
Host,
It will
so
go till 244.
2 raised to 2, that is 4 minus 2, that is 2 IPs.
2 IP, right? So
240,
241,
240 and 242.
correct. To 240, 243 will be valid broadcast. So 244 left. So I'll give this to 244 slash again 30. So it will utilize till 240,
8. And the
240,
basically 45 and 46 and 47.
247. And so 248 I'll give here
Hmm.
slash again 30.
Hmm.
So this will go till 252. So 251. I have 252 more. So I'll give 252 here slash 30. So it will go till 256, means last address will be 255, which will be broadcast, and 253, 254 will be the valid IP.
Hmm.
So that is how we actually allocate or provide the IP range to the customers based on their requirement.
Hmm.
Is it clear?
Yes.
So that is something called VLSM.
So is this supernetting or no? Supernetting is different.
This is not a super netting. This is normal VLSM and CIDR.
Okay, so basically this is subnetting only, but we are not wasting the address. Like this is the, I think this is the actual model of how they assign IP in the hosting environment.
Correct, correct. That's what you were talking about, I believe.
Yeah, I think so also.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
All right, so let's start with the routers component, and we will be talking about how to configure the router, what all are the components inside of the router, and what all are the methods to configure the router, and moreover, why do we use router,
I see.
right? So first of all, router, we have already gone through the OSI model, at which layer it works.
Router layer 3.
Layer 3, right? And the primarily use of the router is to connect two different network, to connect LAN or LAN and WAN together,
Okay,
right? Router function is always called route, means it always routes the packet,
right,
because in layer 3 packet happens, layer 2 frame happens. So when we talk about switch, we say the frame is forwarded,
right.
and when we talk about router, we say packet is forwarded,
Okay, good.
right? So router
Better.
will come at the edge of the network.
Right. Either
So
side, right?
yeah, either side. So we have spoken about the Cisco 3 hierarchy layers, where we already spoke about the access layer and distribution layer and the core layer. Now router will get connected to the core layer.
But they are also, they also, I have seen some layout where they say that you have in the customer environment they have core router and they have edge router both.
Core router is actually normally it is switch, but again it depends on the company nature, the business nature.
Hmm.
right? So yes, we can deploy the, you know, higher end routers as well, but normally we deploy higher end switches in the core layer, like your 6500 switches and all, or you know, the Nexus. All right, let's talk about the components, internal components of a Cisco router, right? So router is basically, inside of the router there will be a bootstrap. This bootstrap is a kind of program.
Mm.
So it will always come up while, you know, router is booting or initializing. So as I told you, this is somewhere in the CMOS this program is built. So whenever router comes, or whenever power on the router, during the initialization, it will always, the first thing will happen is a bootstrap program will get downloaded automatically, or will get initialized,
Okay.
right? Once it is initialized, now the bootstrap program will take responsibility to boot the router and load the iOS image,
Mm.
right? Now the question is, what is iOS image?
Mm.
Internetwork operating system,
Okay.
right? So internetwork operating system, this iOS image is basically, this is just like operating system for the computer. So we have operating system, OS, right? Windows. Same way we have to install iOS in the router, which
Okay.
will, which is again a application layer, which provides a user interface.
Okay.
Next is power on self test. So once bootstrap program is initialized, it will go for the power on self test. Just like Windows, it will check all internal components, the functionality of the internal components, in fact,
Mm.
right? Next is ROM monitor. So ROM monitor is something which is used to manufacture, testing and troubleshooting. So manufacturing, testing and troubleshooting means whenever router is on, right, and you have the bootstrap program has been loaded, it has loaded the iOS image has been compressed, and now you will have the utility, you will have the user interface. That is where, that is what it is called, ROM monitor, which means you can now put the commands, you can do some testing, you can, you know, configure all these, whatever you want, now you can do.
Mm.
Mini iOS is just just kind of iOS itself, but sometimes what happens, due to some issue, the main iOS doesn't come up, or bootstrap program is unable to load the mini iOS. In that case, sorry, bootstrap program is unable to load the main iOS. In that case, just to provide some sort of utility, like you know, for the backup purpose or with the very less functionality, mini iOS will automatically get downloaded,
Mm.
right? So you will get into the different, again, user interface, and from where you will have option to, you know, come to the main iOS, or maybe to recover the iOS. For example, someone deleted the iOS,
Mm.
right? So if someone deleted the iOS, the bootstrap program won't be able to actually load the iOS image, because there is no iOS image present.
Okay.
Now at this time, the mini iOS will be downloaded, and you will have it still, still, option to recover either the iOS image, or to hit or to enter some basic commands to make that router recoverable.
Mm.
All right, RAM. These are the external actually memory. Sorry, this is the internal memory, random access memory. RAM is just like your computer, right? Which basically holds packet for buffers.
Mm.
So whatever you are typing, whatever you are doing in the particular router or maybe computer, it is going on the RAM, random access. It is being held in the RAM, random access memory. Now this is temporary memory, which means whatever, if you are typing something and you haven't saved it, and if power goes off, or if you reload the router or reload the computer, you will lose everything whatever you have, you know, done the task. ROM, read only memory, used to start and maintain the router. So ROM and
So
ROM,
used to hold packet buffers, routing table, running config is stored in RAM. So I missed the line that you said about you will lose everything.
use everything means, yes, for example, you can lose everything means, since it holds temporarily, it doesn't say.
Oh, okay. Right.
Think from this computer perspective,
Right, yeah.
right? So it doesn't hold, you know, the these information permanently, temporary
Mm,
only. This is
yeah.
temporary memory. Read only memory used to start and maintain the router, right? So in order to, like in order Cisco router models and all, read only memory chips were used to store iOS software. This was in older, actually, the ROM, this particular, you know, component we
Mm.
used to see in older routers.
Okay, so what is in the newer routers now?
No, we don't have in now new router. Now new router we have the flash memory.
And flash is what, like a USB or something?
Yes, flash is external memory.
I see. So you just attach the flash, boot the router, and you remove the flash.
No, flash will be all you know, attached only.
Okay.
But yes, you can insert and you can take it outside whenever you want.
Okay.
Now, because earlier days ROM, actually it used to store the iOS image, iOS software, but now flash stores the iOS image.
Okay.
So flash memory will come in, you know, in MB and all, let's say 128 MB or 256 MB, like this.
Okay.
So NVRAM is now, NVRAM is the, you know, again another type of memory, which is the permanent memory, means non-volatile random access memory. So it stores the data permanently, just like your hard disk in computer.
Mhm.
So for example, you open Notepad, you are typing something, so that is being held by the RAM. But if you restart the computer, the Notepad is not saved yet, right? So it will go off.
Okay.
But if you have saved that Notepad, so it will be stored in the hard disk.
Okay.
Same concept here. Whatever you are typing, that will be in the RAM. But if you save the configuration, that will be saved in the NVRAM.
Okay. So NVRAM is a permanent memory.
Correct. Next is configuration register. This plays an important role while router booting. What happens when bootstrap program gets loaded? It needs the instruction. To get the instruction, it checks the configuration register value, right? So the configuration register value is by default, let's say 0x2102. This is hexadecimal value. So which means if I convert 0 into hexa or binary, I'll get 0010, isn't it? This is 2, and 1 means 001, and then 00, and then 0010 again. So these are the 16 bits, I mean bits or binary of this hexadecimal value.
Can you tell me how you did that conversion? It was too fast for me to understand.
Okay, in that case, you're not aware of this, um, the hexadecimal values. See, we have octet, right? We know the decimal. Decimal is what? It's numeric.
Right.
And we,
1 0.
correct. We have to convert from decimal to binary, which we have already done it.
Right.
Now, the octet means 8 bits.
Right.
Hexadecimal means 16 bits.
Okay.
Right. So the value of hexadecimal will be this. Let's say 0. So this will be as in called 0. 0001 is called 1. 0010 called 2, 0011 called 3, 10. Now it will keep on actually, and it will go till all 4 bits get on.
Okay.
So like now 0101, that will be 5, 0110, that will be 6, and 0111, sorry, 0111 will be 7. So 1, now 000, that will be 8, 1001, that will be 9, 1010, that will be A. So 10 is called A in this hexadecimal.
Okay.
1011 will be B,
Okay.
and 1, then 100, that will be
C.
C, and 1101, that will be D, and 1110, that will be E, 110, that will be E, and 111, that will be F. So this is the last. So
Okay.
same concept. When all bits are 0, it will be 0. When all bits are on, this will be off, F.
So this is not used in the.
Hexadecimal is used in IPv6. We'll talk about IPv6 as well, right?
Okay.
So normally it is used in IPv6,
Okay.
but actually you should know this.
Yeah, I never came across this one.
Right. So that based on that we took out. So value of 2 will be 0010, 000, and this.
Right.
So now this configuration register, what I'm telling you, this particular value is this is by default value which is already configured in the router.
And if you don't mind me asking you, what is this 0 into 2102?
Now this is actually, this is the symbol of hexadecimal. 0x means this is hexadecimal value.
Okay, so 0x means hexadecimal value and the value is 2102.
Yes.
Okay.
And which means this is hexadecimal, right? So 16 bits. If I convert this into binary, I'll get 16 bits.
Right.
Like 192, if you convert into binary, you will get 8 bits.
Right.
Right. So similar, if I convert this into binary, I'll get 16 bits.
Okay.
All right. In this actually, the first this particular 8 bits. So what happens now? Bootstrap program.
So where did that, like, what are, how are we relating that to this chapter? Like, so hexadecimal number 2102, how did it come under the configuration register?
No, this is by default configured whenever this is programmed only. So any iOS image, when it comes up, right, when it boots, this is the default actually, value.
Oh, 2102 is the default value. Okay.
Correct. So and this is the instruction actually what to do next. So what Bootstrap program does, the moment it is initialized, right, it will check this value. Okay, let me see what is the configuration register value. Configuration register value is 2102. So which means when it converts, it will find, okay, 21 means that I have to boot. So this is the instruction for Bootstrap program. So 21 means it is to boot. Right. So now Bootstrap program has got the instruction that, okay, I have to boot. But from where I have to boot? Then I have to boot it from, it checks the last, actually this one. So 2 means I have to boot it from the flash. I have to boot it from the flash. So now Bootstrap program will check flash. Okay, do you have, in flash it will check, do you have any valid iOS image? So that using that iOS image, I should boot. right? Sometimes what happens? Scenarios like someone deleted the iOS image. So
Mm.
now bootstrap program is unable to boot because there is no iOS image in the flash,
Mm.
right? So it will go to the mini iOS. At the end, it will say unable to load the iOS image and will go to the Roman mode, that is normally mini iOS. We'll talk about, we'll do all these practicals, so you'll understand. We'll correlate the things with the practical,
Okay.
right? And then, or maybe someone remove the flash itself.
Mm.
So bootstrap program won't get any flash. And it'll say, okay, fine, there is no flash, unable to load the image.
Mm.
Again, it will end up going mini iOS,
Mm.
right? So, okay, flash, we have valid iOS image. Now bootstrap program will actually check the iOS image and boot from the flash.
Mm.
This actually, this value, the this all 40 is called for NVRAM.
Mm.
So NVRAM as an, since we spoke about that this NVRAM actually whenever we boot, it is always NVRAM stores the data permanently, isn't it?
Mm.
So we'll talk about NVRAM anyways further when it comes to the practical. But that is how actually the bootstrap program loads the images and all.
Mm.
Is it clear?
Yes.
All right. So now we'll go to the. This is the boot sequence anyways. So on power on Cisco router, first we'll perform the post power on self test. The bootstrap looks the load. The Cisco iOS software we have already discussed. To check the Cisco iOS software, it will check the configuration register value. Now, once it finds the software, the iOS looks the valid configuration file store in NVRAM. When it is booted, it will again check the NVRAM as in that 2102 file. So we'll talk about this in detail. And if I start up config is in NVRAM, it will load the image. It will load the configuration. Otherwise, it will come up with the blank RAM, blank configuration. So while booting, we'll talk about this.
Mm.
Okay, let's take some 10 minutes break
Mm.
and then we'll start.
Mm.
All right, so the cable which we use to access the router is console cable. This cable is only used to access, not for data transmission. So there will be a two end in the console cable. One will be RJ45 and one will be the serial connector. That serial connector you have to connect to the computer, and RJ45 you have to connect to the router, which we'll discuss. As I told you, we'll discuss this, right?
So the console cable is separate.
Yes. So if
And
you remember, console cable, this console cable is the ordinary console cable, right?
okay.
And we
Okay.
also spoke about the rollover cable, if you remember, while going to the cabling
Right.
part. Right? The
Right.
rollover cable is also used for access the router. That is Ethernet rollover cable. This console is the ordinary,
Right. And then, like, so one end will go into the router and the other end will go into
the computer COM port. That is normally called COM port,
COM port. Okay. And then you have other RJ45,
which will go to the router.
and that will be for the data transfer.
No, no, no. For data transfer, we have to connect the Ethernet cable. This is not for the data transfer.
Okay. So what will RJ45 do?
We will connect RJ45 on console port in router. I told there are two ends, one RJ45 and one serial connector. Serial connector will get connected to the computer. RJ45 will connect to the router.
Uh, So where are the other ends of the cable will go? Those cables.
Only two end will be there of the single cable, right?
So
One end goes to router RJ45.
okay,
One end goes to the computer serial port.
okay. So that is one cable.
Normally, yes,
That is one RJ45. Then there is another cable you said, console cable.
RJ45 is a connector which is there in the console cable. You're getting confused.
Yeah,
Single
because I haven't
single
seen it.
wire, single wire, single wire will have only 2 points, right? Two ends.
Right.
One end it will be RJ45 connector,
Okay.
and one end it will be DBC. That is not called normally DB9. DB9 you will connect to the computer. RJ45 you will connect to the router. Now router and computer both are connected.
Okay.
All right. So that is how we actually connect
And then second wire, you have the Ethernet wire for the data.
for the data second. Yes. So let me turn it on. Let this power it on. Now this is powered on. As of now, since it is software, so if I click in this, we will have CLI, as you see. So it is booting. Do you see that?
Yeah.
All right. So this, now what happened till here, bootstrap program got loaded. Bootstrap program checked the iOS image. It found in the flash, and from the flash it is decompressing to the RAM.
Mm.
Right? Some restricted rights, as in some banner from Cisco.
Mm.
This is the Cisco iOS software 7200. So as I told you, this is the 7200 model of the router, and the main feature of this iOS image is this advanced IP services K9. These iOS actually it comes in different category, different flavor, different feature support.
Mm.
So for example, service providers we have different image feature. For IP base, for the enterprise we have different feature and all.
Mm.
This is the version of the iOS image. The latest version is 15.x.
Mm.
12 is the main release.
Right.
Right? 12 is the main release. 4 is the sub release,
Mm.
right? Like 12.4. And then this 2T, that is again based on the vulnerabilities, defect and all, they are the minor release
Mm.
or maybe service update,
Mm.
right? Apart from this, you see again some banners, some policies. Now the actual model of the router is 7206 VXR. This is actually the actual model of the router,
Mm.
right? In this model, it says that we have two fast Ethernet interfaces. Fast Ethernet interfaces means LAN interface,
Right.
and four serial interfaces, which means WAN interfaces,
Okay.
right? And these are the status. Anyways, if you hit enter here, you'll get this status. All the interfaces are coming up, going down because it is initializing.
Mm.
Right now, when the iOS, the bootstrap program is loaded, now the
Mm.
first actually thing, first dialog which you will get in the router is this. Before itself, there is something called the user mode. This is actually the privilege mode.
Mm.
So the modes and all I'll give you anyways. And I'll do one thing today. I'll send you the soft copy of the book as well.
I see.
Right, so you can also go through that. I'll make sure that today I'm sending all the videos as well as recordings as well as the documents.
Mm.
So yes, this is called CLI anyways, command line interface. Okay, and this mode is the hash, right? This is actually the privilege mode. The first mode is user mode.
Mm.
right? And this is the privilege mode.
Mm.
Now in this privilege mode, you can run all the show commands, so the basic show commands. For example, if you want to display some information, like we spoke about the flash and all, right?
Mm.
So I can say show and flash, right? Since it is actually again, since it is the software, so you won't see much information in this, but normally you will see, right?
Mm.
All right. Next, this I'll take the basic things which is not possible in the software. I'll again take it there. Just one moment. All right. This. So from this particular privilege mode, as I told you, like if you want to check, so we spoke about the RAM, right? The random access memory. To display, now you should actually know about this since you haven't configured the router, right? So the modes and the basic commands, it is very important to know from which actually mode we have to type which command and all. But here the show running config, if you say this running show running config, this command is to display the RAM, random access memory, right? So if I hit enter, as of now you see the host name by default it takes as an host name R1, but everything will be blank. So we have some fast Ethernet interfaces, but no IP address, nothing is there on those ports actually,
Mm.
right? No much information. This router is completely blank. These are the normal information which is default, but you consider that this router is empty. I mean, there is no any configuration in this router, right? To check the NVRAM, command is show startup config. Show startup config. This is the actual command. Show startup config.
Mhm.
So if I hit enter, since I haven't saved anything in this, so as you see, there is nothing much information in this,
Mhm.
right? So the RAM and NVRAM both are actually empty as of now. Show version. This command will tell you the basic information about the device, as in what is the iOS image that you are running, right?
Mm.
What is the advanced IP services? What is the key feature in this? And moreover, what is the configuration register value? If you see the configuration register value here, this is the configuration register is 0x2102 we spoke about,
Mhm.
right? And moreover, it will also display the RAM size. So here you can also see the RAM. So this RAM is 512 Mbps. You have to combine both this particular and this section. You have to combine both. When you combine, it will be somewhere 512 Mbps.
So the configuration 2102 code, is it same in all the routers, or
Yes, it is same in all the routers.
and what does it tell you? Like why it is there? Like what does it tell you?
I think we had discussed about in PPT, right? Right. I spoke where 2 1 is where it is to boot, and 2 means from the
Okay,
flash.
okay, okay. Got it, got it, got it, got it.
All right. So so these informations, all information you can get from the show version command. If you
Hmm.
want to display, let's say, the interface status like show IP interface, brief. So
Hmm.
this will tell you all interfaces which we spoke. We have two LAN interface, we have four serial interfaces, right? All information in this, right? So so that way you can verify all the routers configuration. What all are the basic information you can. So here, as of now, the interface IP address we haven't assigned, right? Method nothing. Administratively down. This administratively down means this interface is shut down. You need to activate this interface,
Hmm.
right? All right. So next is, from this privilege mode, you can go to the different mode, and that is config terminal. So config space terminal, this command, if you hit enter, now you see the difference. Now you are under the different mode. This mode is called global configuration mode,
Hmm.
global mode or global configuration mode,
Right.
right? So this is the main mode of the router. Means whatever when you are configuring in this mode, it will impact the entire router. That was the privilege mode where, or enable mode, where the basic commands you can enter. But in this mode, whatever you do, whatever command you type, you will have the impact on the whole router. Means this is kind of the, you can say, the service in, intervention actually mode, where you
This
can
configuration commands, you
yeah,
configure the router.
correct. So from here you can configure. So as of now, you see there is no password and all, right? We don't have any password.
Hmm.
Now from privilege mode to global mode we can come directly. There is no password. Normally
Hmm.
there are two types of password. One is to configure user mode password, and one is to configure the enable mode or the privilege mode password,
Hmm.
right? So since you are already in the privilege mode, right, so you cannot configure the password, as in for that we need the real devices. So we'll
Yeah.
access tomorrow, and then I'll show you how to configure. But basic things what we can do, how to set up the IP address on the interface,
Hmm.
right? So let's say as per this router, we don't have connectivity. This router is alone, isn't it? But as I told you, to configure it, you can verify the show IP interface brief. These are the interfaces. Let's say I want to configure the IP address on the interface f0 slash, right? So I'll say config terminal to go to the global configuration mode, and interface, and fast ethernet 0 slash 0, right? When you hit enter, you will be under now interface mode, right? So under interface mode, you have to configure the IP address. This is the command, IP address, and configure the IP address.
Hmm. So in order to configure IP address, you have to go into interface fast Ethernet mode.
Yes. So to configure the IP address, you have to go under the interface. Which interface you want to configure the IP address to, you have to go under that interface.
So what does it mean by fast Ethernet 00? Like the
This connection is going to the switch, since it is router, right? So there
Mhm.
is a cable connected between router and switch, and
Okay, so
this is port ID. Fast Ethernet
the
0 slash 0 is port ID.
the port is on the router or this port on the switch?
This we have access to the router, right? So this port is in the router,
Okay, so we are configuring the port for the router. Okay.
right?
Okay, so
And
we are
this,
giving IP address to that port basically. Okay.
yes. So let's say 192.168.1.1 and 255.255.255.0. This is the command which we discussed, isn't it? I
Right.
mean that, so this is the command to configure the IP address on the interface.
Mhm.
And then no shutdown. No shutdown is required to activate the port. As you have seen, it is administratively down, means through the administrator it is down. It is a,
Okay.
right. So we have to say no shutdown. No shutdown means this port will be up now.
Okay.
So you see the line up down interface fast Ethernet zeros change state to up and change state to up. Now
Right.
if you see again, if show IP interface brief you do, so you see here the IP address has been configured, method is manual, and status and protocol both are up. This particular both interfaces should be up, otherwise it will not work.
So what is the status is up? That is fine. What is the protocol up?
Status is, and the protocol means there are two types of actually, in this. One is status. Status means the physical interface. So physical interface is good,
Hmm.
and the protocol which we are running here, it is also good. So sometimes what happens, this will be up and this will be down, means the physical layer is okay, right? Physical layer, but the protocol is not working.
What do you mean by that protocol? That's my question. Like,
In Ethernet we use ARP, right? In serial interfaces we use SGLC, triple P, frame relay and all,
oh, okay.
right? So these protocols.
For
Sometimes,
example, triple I 802 something like that.
correct,
802.3.
correct. Sometimes you will see down and down status. Down and
Okay.
down means the physical interface is down. Either the cable is not connected or cable is connected but the physical interface is not good, as in faulty.
For example, LSCP, then it will say up or down. LSCP is a protocol, right?
Correct.
Okay. And how many ports are there on the router?
Total 6 ports.
Okay, is
Four.
this the standard or it differs?
No, that differs. In your router, you will see 2 ports only, 3 ports. It depends which all ports you are using or you have installed.
Not like a physical port.
Router, the router will come. The basic routers will come only with the two management port, that is LAN interfaces.
LAN interfaces, okay.
Yes. Now to avail the serial interfaces, there are the cards, well, the module, network module. Because in router, now you can fit, different modules as per your requirement.
Mhm.
So in router, let's say you need the serial port. So
Mhm.
you will purchase WAN interface card or WIC card.
Mhm.
You need more, let's say LAN ports. So you'll purchase more LAN network module cards,
Mhm.
right? Like this.
And then you just connect those cards to the router,
Correct. Then we'll connect to the router.
and that is your WAN connection.
That is our WAN connection, right? So this is that is how we configure the IP address on the router
Mhm.
online. So apart from this, this IP address, you can also set the clock. Like as of now, show clock. If I say, so the clock is 2012 actually. It is synchronized actually. Everything is synchronized. Right. So this show clock. Now we can set the clock as well. If you want to set the different clock, we can set the clock as well.
Mhm.
The
Uh,
command is clock set, clock set, and then we have the hours, minutes, seconds. So we'll set anything we can, let's say It is 8:42. So I'll say hour is 08, and then 42 minutes, and then second, let's say 42, and then it will ask for the month. So what is the month? So day of the month, anyways, the day of the month is today is 12. So 12th month will be October, and then year. So 2017, and hit enter. So it will So that is how we set the clock.
Okay. Also, can you give me the information on where to download the GNS3 and whatever is information is needed for that?
Sure, we'll do one thing, but I need to set up because you need the GNS. You need the image as well. I'm not sure if you have the image.
No, no, I don't have anything.
Okay, so I'll do one thing.
And I
Uh,
don't even know how much space it will need on the laptop.
it won't. What is the RAM size, anyways?
My RAM size is 8 GB, but I have Oracle box already installed on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm using it a lot, but I do have Oracle box. But I know that GNS3 and Oracle box can be combined together